Throughout the years, arcade racers have always been a huge part of arcades. With games that have easy pick-up and play mechanics like the Cruisin' and Outrun series, it's no wonder to see why people love them. However, every once in a blue moon, there comes a racer that goes one step and beyond. This is a game that I feel very close to, and despite the fact that I barely see any cabinets of it and have recently had to play outside of my home city of Houston, I still first played the game in my home city and instantly fell in love with it. What game is it? Wangan Midnight Maximum Tune. This series needs more exposure. If you're a car enthusiast, you would likely love this series. Hell, you don't even have to be one to love it. Today, I'm going to show all of you why I love this series so much and why I think it's not just one of the best arcade racers, but the best, in my own honest opinion, as well as its rise, fall, and its eventual comeback. Before I can begin, we need to discuss the history of Wangan Midnight and how it came to be before the sub-series officially came out. Wangan Midnight first started out as a manga with its first issue released back in 1990. It followed a high school student in his last year of studying named Akio Asakura. One day, while he's driving his Nissan 300ZX on the Shoto Expressway, he challenges a doctor named Tatsuya Shima, who drives a black roof CTR, aptly named Blackbird. Akio loses since he doesn't know the power of Shima's car and thus looks to get a faster car. He goes to a junkyard since his mechanic friend tells him he saw a scrapped body of an S30Z with good parts in it. However, there's a catch. When Akio convinces the junkyard owner to sell him the car, he tells him about how it's cursed. It turns out the car is overpowered thanks to an L28 engine, bored and stroked to 3.1L, fitted with triple carburetors and twin turbos. It also turns out one of the car's previous owners, who coincidentally shared his first and last name, was killed in a crash on the Wangan, that's Japanese for Bayshore, the freeway, a few years ago. Apparently, every person who takes control of the car ends up spinning out of control and crashing. Thus, the car is rightfully given the name, the Devil Z. The manga follows Akio's encounters with people on the Wangan and him trying to control the car while battling Blackbird for Wangan superiority. So now after that long-ass introduction of Wangan Midnight itself, we can talk about the games. Even before the Maximum Tune games, Wangan Midnight had a few prior games. The first one, simply titled Wangan Midnight, was released on February 2nd, 2001 in the arcades, running on the Namco System 246. The game had you racing people from the comic book only. It felt more like a simple race. Pick your car, and you could do story, time attack, or race against a friend. It played more like the Tokyo Extreme Racer series. The game later got an upgrade called Wangan Midnight R, released on December 20th, 2001 on the same system. I'm not sure fully what it does though. It's a little bit hard to find info/footage for these games. I do know that the upgrade was later ported to the PS2 by Genki, the guys who did Tokyo Extreme Racer, as just Wangan Midnight on March 22nd, 2002. And that's about it. Okay, now that I got what was essentially the foundation for the Maximum Tune games, let's talk about the Maximum Tune games themselves. Let's start with the games released for the Sega Chihiro system first, starting with the original Wangan Midnight Maximum Tune, released on July 6, 2004. While its gameplay was similar to the original Wangan Midnight games, it did some things to stand out. It had more cars, 19 to be exact, well, 17 for non-Japanese versions since it doesn't include the Gem Bala due to licensing issues. Because of this, Tatsuya Ueshima's car was changed to a black Nissan 350Z. But did that stop the game from getting released stateside? Hell no. Anyway, the gameplay goal was different from the previous Wangan Midnight games. Like the previous game, story mode had you battle the Wangan Midnight characters. However, this time you have to try to beat them to the goal. Also, unlike the other games, this game introduced the tuning card system. At the start of the game, it would ask if you have a card. If you said no, you had the option to buy one for an extra credit. This card lets you save your story mode progress, your times for time attack, and your upgrades. As you completed races in story mode, you would gain points to fill up a bar. When it fills up, you could choose an upgrade, whether it was speed or handling, and it always helped out. The gameplay was faster, intense, and blew out the old Wangan Midnight games, and best of all, it had one kick-ass soundtrack. Just listen to gems such as Driver's Delight and Total Terror to know what I mean. In fact, the soundtrack to the whole series just sounds so beautiful. It's wonderful trance done by the great Yuzo Koshiro, who mainly is best known for his work with the Streets of Rage games. And it all sounds so great. I can't do the soundtrack enough justice. Go listen if you can. Anyways, after completing 20 chapters of story mode, what else was there to do but wait until April 21st, 2005. That's when Wangan Midnight Maximum Tune 2 was released. It added 6 new cars, a new course, Hakone, a new class system to identify racer rank, more tuning options, new BGM, an expanded story mode that goes up to 80 stages, with the last half being based on the stories of the manga, and best of all, a new mode, 10 Outrun mode. In this mode, you must meet all 10 rivals that appear one by one. Do that, and you win. Now that's about it for this game. It was kind of an expansion pack, while the core gameplay remained the same. In fact, that can be kind of said for the sequels as well. But enough about that. These games were definitely good starts as to what was to come for the future, as we will now see in the next section. Now onto the Namco System N2 games. Starting with Wangan Midnight Maximum Tune 3, released on July 18th, 2007. This release added 7 new cars, well, 6 in the non-Japanese version since one of the new cars was a Gembala. It also added 3 new areas, the Wangan Line, Yokohane Line, and Hanshin Expressway. Also, in VS Battle Mode, you can now choose branching paths during the race. This adds a lot of variety and can make for even more intense battles. It also made the max tuning horsepower 820. Probably the biggest new addition to the game though was Ghost Battle Mode. In this mode, you take your car and race against other cars stored on the machine from other racers. See, when you transfer your previous card, or buy a new card, the game creates a second car in the machine as ghost data for other players to battle. It is basically a copy of how you play. Plus it functions like an AI car so you can hit it. When you select this mode, you pick a course and another car to battle. If you win, you gain dress-up points. These can be used to get parts that change the appearance of your car, from spoilers to rims, vinyls, etc. All these new and exciting modes and features were very welcome into the series. After that game, what came was the first of several expansions. The first one being Wangan Midnight Maximum Tune 3DX, released on December 16, 2008. This game increased the max horsepower to 825. It also expanded the story mode to 100 chapters. It also added something new to Ghost Battle Mode. Whenever you would win, you would also earn Maxi Coins in addition to dress-up points. What do Maxi Coins do?
Nothing! Absolutely nothing!
Yeah, they're just kind of there for show, to show how well you've done. Yeah. In addition to that, there are also 4 new car models, a new course, the Nagoya Expressway Loop Line, and a brand new song. Enjoy the process. While this was a good thing for the series, the States didn't get to enjoy this expansion. From what I could gather, this expansion wasn't officially released, and the States would had to import it, even though strangely enough, English kits of this game although those are probably more or less for English-speaking areas of Asian territories. Now, just like the sequel and the final expansion / N2 game, Wangan Midnight Maximum Tune 3DX Plus, released on March 4, 2010. This release was a bit small though. Only 2 new cars, 1 new course, Fukuoka Expressway, I apologize. A few new songs, Stay Where You Are, Loop of Fortune, and 2 remixes of old Maximum Tune tracks, Acid Runner and Feel the Passion. Probably the biggest addition though was the new dress-up parts, new stickers, different colored neon tubes, and new wheels. Yep, that's pretty much about it for 3DX Plus. After this point though, something would change, something that put the future of this series in the US in jeopardy. We'll discuss that in the next section. Wangan Midnight Maximum Tune 4 was released on December 15, 2011. This one added more dress-up parts, another new course, the Minato Mirari line, all new BGM, increased the maximum horsepower to 830, 8 new car models that even include new manufacturers like Roof. Yeah, thanks to Roof being in the game, Shima no longer drives a black 350Z. He goes back to his original car, and thus, my uniqueness has been restored. Oh, but how could I forget the biggest change of them all? An all-new card system, the Bana Passport. This Wave Pass-like reader made things simpler than the previous magnetic card system. With the last system, after 60 games you would have to renew the card. This system gets rid of that since it works like Konami's e-amusement system. However, like the e-amusement system, it needed a network to connect. Because of this and Namco's system where you would have to share revenue from the game, it never got released in the States. Even though Namco would let Round 1 run a network for Tekken Tag 2, why they wouldn't do it for this is beyond me. Because of the network feature, this also gave way for Ghost battles against Ghost from other countries. One last feature I want to talk about is the Wangan Terminal. This allowed you to purchase Bana passports in addition to buying them from the driving cabinet. It allowed you to change your dress-up parts, manage your card data, teams, and all that good stuff. It certainly was convenient. Also, because of the network features, it made it easier to add content. I can't possibly cover everything that was added over the game's lifespan. You can check the official game website for what was added throughout. I'll put the link in the description below. From there, we go straight to Wangan Midnight Maximum Tune 5, released on March 12, 2014. This release added a new VS mode called Extreme Versus Mode. This was Versus mode with reverse tracks. It also hides race information, remaining distance, curve warning, and all race aid information is hidden. It really does change things up and makes it harder to win. The game also added a new VS grading system to show how you do in VS battles, aura motifs from the VS grading system. They're basically just for show, and you can turn them off at the terminal if you don't want them. It also added a new course, Mount Taiken. This course is kind of like something you would see out of Initial D, kind of like Hakone. Also, Maxi Coins were renamed Ghost Victory Trophies. I like this name better. They also added more car models, including not just American ones like Dodge and Chevrolet, but also European manufacturers like BMW and Mercedes-Benz. And of course, more new BGM. On top of that, they reduced the story mode to 60 chapters since 100 is crazy. Plus, it would take longer to unlock the previous Maximum Tunes soundtracks if you wanted to use those. Overall, I have to say the series has come a long way with all sorts of new content added. It keeps the game fresh, may intrigue new players, and keeps the old players coming back for more. Before I go on to talk about the re-rise of Maximum Tune, we need to discuss the downfall. Honestly, I think the reason why we were left without this game for a while was the lack of support. It seemed to me like after 3 was released in the States, Namco gave up on the series. I mean, think about it. The lack of cabinets of 3DX and 3DX Plus in the States, pushing other crappier racers over this one. It seemed like Namco thought the game wasn't good enough for most arcade goers who are casual because of the high learning curve that games like this and Initial D have, even though a former casual like myself changed once I first played the game. But hey, I'm just one guy on the internet. Who knows what everyone else's experience is like? But even casuals were starting to pick up on this game as we move on into the next section. Anyways, after 4 was released, it seemed all hope was lost, especially with Namco pushing the crappy racer Dead Heat more. Even after 5 was released, it seemed like they only cared about the other side of the world. That was until this image came out. This was a post that seemed to intrigue the North American players, like they wanted them to come back to the game. They even did the same for the UK, as you see here. However, nothing really came out of this, and it was quickly forgotten, and would have stayed dead. That was until one individual by the name of Sam created the Wangan Midnight Maximum Tune North American community. This community was created as a way for North American players like myself to connect with one another. Eventually, on Valentine's Day of 2015, after working to get a response from someone, we did. A good buddy of Sam's in Korea and a core member of the Team Source traveled to Japan to watch the 2015 Wangan Midnight Maximum Tune 5 World Championships live. They met with the development team and delivered a personal written letter that Sam wrote on behalf of North American players like myself. There was good news and bad news. The good news was the developers were willing to set up a North American network. The bad news was that it was out of the developers' hands which countries got the game. So because of this, our main effort was working on convincing Bandai Namco Amusement America to get the game. After doing some other work that involved a letter on a Namco theme arcade called 257 and further pushing, it happened. Location test popped up. First, it was Camelot Golfland in Anaheim, California. Then it was Dave & Buster's in Denver, Colorado. Finally, the round 1 in Bloomingdale, Illinois. However, like I said, these were only location tests. Depending on the performance of these location tests, this would be a determining factor in North America getting Wangan Midnight Maximum Tune 5. It seemed like we were going to get it. People showed up and played like crazy, and even casuals were starting to get in on the action as well. People were racing, posting races, the community had a huge increase of members. Yeah, the game was picking back up momentum on the States after being left out for 5 years. Heck, there was even a tournament held at Camelot Golfland. However, while all this was going on, another expansion was planned for 5 and nonchalantly confirmed in Wangan Talk 10.
They had just released a version in Japan, which, as we all know, is ES. So they're waiting. She said, in a very nonchalant way, "Oh yeah, as soon as that version is going to be available, in the next couple months here in the U.S. So we're going to wait to put the network online until that version comes out."
Oh yeah, I didn't mention this in the system ES1/ES3 game section since it came out after the location test for the States started, so I'll mention it briefly. So a little more than a year and a half later, after 5 came out in Japan, they got Wangan Midnight Maximum Tune 5 DX. This expansion added 4 new courses: Kobe, Hanshin Expressway, R3 Harbor Road, Shibuya/Shinjuku Line, and Ikebukuro Line Yamate Tunnel. On top of that, it gave 8 cars that were already seen in the international version of Maximum Tune 5 for the Japanese version, and vice versa. New dress-up parts, several new songs, as Stamps and Shuttles replaced the challenge and revenge features for Ghost Battle, backgrounds for the terminal, and Ghost Battle trophy backgrounds have been added. Also, the Japan Challenge mode from Maximum Tune 4, which allows you to race ghost data of a real person living in a specific district in Japan who plays at your level, now allows you to choose from up to 5 cars at a similar level instead of 1 per level. Finally, the dress-up parts point system has been reworked into Maxi G and the Maxi Shop. See, whenever you fill up a bar, you earn Maxi G, which you can then, in turn, use to spend on dress-up points. The game has definitely gotten intense, but could it hold up once it hit the States? Let's find out as we return to our stateside story. Sadly, these location tests couldn't last forever, and we all knew it was going to end at some point. Towards the end of February 2016, it was in fact proven that the cabinets were going to be removed. It was understandable, plus, if Namco were to release 5DX, they couldn't just do a simple system upgrade because, although the cabinets only underwent a new color scheme as pictured here, internationally the game ran on different hardware from the Japanese version. Somehow the international version ran on the Namco System ES1 instead of the System ES3 like the Japanese version. This also meant the international machines couldn't get every piece of new content from the Japanese version until 5DX released internationally. So anyways, the cabinets were removed in early March of 2016. After the cabinets were removed, all we could do was wait. Eventually, one of our members who lives in Illinois and also worked at the Round 1 in Bloomingdale visited Bandai Namco Amusement America's headquarters in Elk Grove Village, Illinois in April 2016 and was able to confirm that the game was going to be released in the summer for North America. Or so we thought. After a little time, we got a response from Bandai Namco Amusement America answering some questions. Some things were fine, but others were off. Mainly they wanted to release 5 instead of starting on 5DX, as well as confining North America to their own server instead of being on the international server. Also, the game didn't get released during the summer. It was pushed back and kept getting pushed back for quite some time. It was all speculation, and we only got half of our questions answered in the second Bandai Namco Amusement America Q&A, and we ended up getting confined to our own server. This meant we couldn't compete with other countries' time, attack rankings, and ghost battles. Why Namco programmed it this way, I have no idea. In an article for Replay magazine, Namco showed off and talked about the game, as well as showed off the first design cabinet. And it looks like crap! What the hell? It's just a recolored dead heat cabinet. Why can't we get the actual nice-looking cabinets? Instead, we get this. Thanks a lot, jerks. Not only that, they mentioned the release date somewhere in November 2016. That, and the fact that it was Vanilla 5 instead of 5DX. I already expressed how I felt about that in the group, but to recap, unless it's the Japanese version of 5, hardware and everything, except for it being in English, I don't get it. Also, there's no reason why the game should run on the ES1 instead of the ES3. Also, North America might not even get 5DX. Well, one of the members in the group who works with Namco said the US won't get another release until Maximum Tune 6 in 2018, at least in terms of actual cabinets. Unless we get a gimped version of 5DX, but I don't think that will be the case. He also said the game was delayed to January 2017 because the worst had yet to come. Well, I say the worst had yet to come, and you'll see why. Eventually, the cabinets were shown at IAPA 2016, but there was one change made to them. Can you see what it is? There's no Wangan Midnight in the title! Why? Well, supposedly, the in-game content was the same. This is a complete disservice to the Wangan Midnight lore. I mean, it's already in the game, so why remove it? Even more baffling is that when you look in-game at the footage you see here, you can see the original logo for when you select your BGM for the mode. You can select your racing BGM. What's up with that? Not sure if it's just for this build or the final product. At least that's what the picture in the video here shows. Not to mention the game looked like it was the international build because it was missing cars from Japanese 5 and instead had cars from international 5. Unless maybe that's the ES3 running the international version of 5. Who the hell knows? Someone needs to answer my question. Okay, so maybe I've been a bit overreactive to some things regarding bringing the game back over. While I might not be able to forgive Bandai Namco for removing Wangan Midnight from the name, maybe I can forgive them for everything else. After all, it is nice the game came back. I just wish some things wouldn't have been changed, and that we could be caught up with the rest of the world. But eventually, the day came. Mid-January. The game arrived at arcades throughout the states, and thus, Wangan Midnight Maximum Tune regained stateside presence that had been lost for 6 years. And thus, our journey concludes. While I am happy for the most part that the game is back, there are some things I wish didn't happen, like removing of the Wangan Midnight name from the logo. Maybe it might change down the line, or not. I really wish it did, to be honest. Regardless, I think most hardcore fans like myself will be happy to see the game back stateside, and for anyone who hasn't heard of the series, I hope I interested you in checking it out. There's plenty of cabinets throughout the states, so hit up an arcade near you and join the world of Wangan Midnight Maximum Tune. Make sure you also join our community, link will be in the description box. Without our community, we wouldn't have been given this wonderful opportunity. Until then, like Sam always says, stay safe, drive safe, and we'll see you on the highway.